Shock. Jung Hae and Jung So minutes caught in a heated clash. What really happened? What could have possibly ignited such an intense confrontation between two of Korea's most beloved stars? Fans were left stunned as reports of their fiery argument surfaced, leaving everyone questioning what really happened behind the scenes. Join Red Carpet revealed as we uncover the truth and delve deep into the drama. Right now, shock rippled through the entertainment world when a video surfaced online showing Jung Hae and Jung So minutes, two of Korea's most beloved stars, caught in what appeared to be a heated argument. It wasn't just a disagreement, witnesses claimed. It was fiery, loud, and left everyone at the scene stunned. But what really happened that day? Why did two stars, known for their charm and professionalism, find themselves at the center of a public storm? The incident reportedly occurred on the set of their latest drama, a much-anticipated romantic series that had already captured audiences with its electric chemistry. That chemistry, it seemed, extended beyond their roles, but not in the way fans expected. According to people on set, tensions had been simmering for weeks. They were polite in front of the cameras, one crew member said anonymously, but something was bubbling underneath. You could see it in their eyes. And then, it just exploded. The moment itself was captured by a bystander with a phone camera. The short, shaky clip begins innocuously enough, the two standing apart on set during a break. But soon, Jung Hae steps closer to Jung So minutes, his jaw tight, his hands gesturing sharply. She stands her ground, her face flushed with frustration, answering back just as fiercely. Though the words are indistinct over the noise of the crowd, the intensity is undeniable. At one point, she turns away, but he follows, clearly not finished. When staff members rush in to intervene, she finally throws her hands up and walks briskly away, leaving him standing there, staring after her. The clip spread like wildfire. Within minutes of being uploaded, it was trending on every major platform with hashtags like #HeAnd vs SoMin, #Heated Clash, and #What Happened climbing to the top. Fans were divided, some expressed shock and disappointment, others speculated about what could have provoked such a scene, and many simply watched and rewatched the video, dissecting every glance and gesture. Reporters quickly descended on the scene, but both stars declined to comment at the time. Her management agencies issued short statements urging the public not to jump to conclusions and promising that more information would follow. But that only fueled speculation. Various theories began circulating. Some claimed it was a lovers' quarrel that spilled into public view. Others insisted it was a professional disagreement, perhaps over creative differences or clashing egos. A few suggested it was simply a misunderstanding that had gotten out of hand. But none of the explanations seemed to fully satisfy the curious public. In the days following, fan forums were flooded with stories from supposed witnesses. "I was there," wrote one anonymous post. "It was way more intense than what you see in the video. Everyone just froze. No one dared to interrupt at first." Another commenter claimed that even after the cameras stopped recording, the two continued to exchange sharp words out of earshot of most of the crew. Adding to the drama, several news outlets published grainy stills reportedly taken moments before the clash erupted. One showed Jung Hae standing with his arms crossed, watching Jung So minutes speak with another actor. Another appeared to capture So minutes wiping at her eyes after storming off. While many fans hoped the incident would blow over, others demanded answers. Comment sections and social media feeds filled with messages like, "We deserve to know the truth," and "What happened to the sweet chemistry we saw on screen?" Some even speculated that the fight was staged as a publicity stunt, though this theory was quickly dismissed by insiders who insisted it was all too raw, too unplanned to be anything but real. As the drama continued filming, both stars appeared to keep their distance. On-set photos leaked after the incident showed them standing on opposite sides of the set during breaks, avoiding each other's gaze. Staff reportedly worked hard to maintain a buffer between them, careful to avoid further escalation. The clash had become more than just a viral moment. It was a cultural phenomenon. Every detail was scrutinized, every silence analyzed, every new image or statement dissected for clues. And yet, despite the frenzy of speculation, no one seemed to have a clear answer to the question everyone was asking: what really happened between Jung Hae and Jung So minutes? As the dust settled, The story took on a life of its own, though both actors returned to work. Tension lingered, and so did the questions. Rumors swirled of behind-the-scenes friction dating back to the early days of filming. Some crew members hinted at growing frustration on both sides, citing differences in work styles and clashing personalities. One report claimed that the root of the conflict lay in a disagreement over a key scene. According to sources, So Minutes had proposed changes to the script to make her character more assertive, but Hae-in reportedly disagreed. It undermined the integrity of the narrative. Their disagreement allegedly escalated during rehearsals, culminating in the public confrontation that shocked everyone. Meanwhile, other accounts painted a more personal picture. Anonymous insiders suggested that the two had developed a close relationship off-set, but that something had gone wrong, perhaps jealousy, perhaps a misunderstanding, and it all came to a head that day. Fans seized on this theory, scouring old interviews and social media posts for hints of a deeper connection between the two. Both actors eventually addressed the incident, but only vaguely. At a press conference weeks later, Hae-in said, "I regret that emotions ran high. We've moved past it now and are focused on our work." So Minutes, when asked about it during a magazine interview, simply replied, "We're professionals. Sometimes there are disagreements, but we always aim to resolve them respectfully." Despite their measured words, body language experts and fans alike continued to speculate. Videos of subsequent events were analyzed frame by frame, with viewers noting the stiff smiles, the careful distance between them, the lack of their once easy banter. The show aired, ratings soared, partly thanks to the drama itself, but also because viewers were eager to see if the tension carried over on screen. To their credit, both delivered powerful performances, their chemistry intact despite the behind-the-scenes turmoil. Yet, eagle-eyed fans claimed to detect a subtle shift in their interactions, a glint of real frustration behind their eyes during certain scenes, a sharpness to their exchanges that hadn't been there before. Meanwhile, fans took sides. Some defended Hae-in, arguing that he had simply been standing up for himself. Others rallied behind So Minutes, praising her for not backing down. Hashtags like #TeamHae-in and #TeamSoMin began trending, with each camp presenting its own version of events, its own evidence of who was right. Commentators weighed in too, with op-eds discussing everything from workplace dynamics in the entertainment industry to the pressures of constant public scrutiny. One columnist wrote, "Perhaps we should consider that both are human beings, under immense pressure, who had a moment of weakness." Another argued, "This is not just a spat between two stars, it's a reflection of how we demand perfection from those we put on pedestals." In the end, the truth of what happened remains elusive. Perhaps it was just what it appeared to be, a heated disagreement between two professionals under stress. Perhaps there was more to the story, something deeply personal that neither was willing to share. Over time, the noise quieted. Other scandals emerged to occupy the headlines. Hashtags stopped trending. The video was archived among countless others in the ever-churning cycle of viral content. And yet, for those who had watched it unfold, the memory lingered, the shock of seeing two beloved stars drop their masks, however briefly, and reveal something raw and real. For fans, it became a kind of legend, a moment that encapsulated the fragility of fame, the complexity of human relationships, the unpredictability of life behind the scenes. In fan forums, even months later, people still posted theories, still argued over what really happened, still wondered if the two had truly reconciled. Because sometimes, the most compelling stories are the ones without neat conclusions, the ones that leave us questioning, imagining, and hoping for answers that may never come. Perhaps that's what makes the clash between Jung Hae-in and Jung So-minutes so unforgettable. World of carefully curated images and scripted perfection, it was a rare, unscripted glimpse of reality, messy, emotional, and impossible to look away from. So what really happened? Passed, and while the public's attention shifted to new scandals and fresh headlines, the memory of that heated clash between Jung Hae-in and Jung So-minutes refused to completely fade. Every so often, it resurfaced in conversations, a fleeting mention during interviews, a question in fan Q&As. boastful thread on social media. Then came the awards season. Both actors were nominated for their roles in the very drama that had been overshadowed by their infamous confrontation. Waited breathlessly to see whether they would attend, and if so, whether they'd interact. When the night came, the atmosphere was electric. Cameras flashed wildly as the biggest names in the industry arrived, but all eyes were fixed on one thing: would Hae and So Minutes share the stage again? Jung So Minutes appeared first. Stunning in a flowing, emerald green gown, she smiled graciously at reporters, her composure unshaken. Later, Jung Hae arrived, sharp and solemn in a tailored black tuxedo. Though both walked the red carpet alone, the tension was palpable, and so was the curiosity. When the category for Best On-Screen Pair was announced, the room fell silent. And when their names were called as winners, collective gasp filled the hall. Slowly, both stood and made their way to the stage. For a moment, they stood there together under the bright lights, the applause washing over them. Hae glanced at So Minutes, his expression unreadable, and she returned his gaze with a small, almost imperceptible nod. Then, to everyone's surprise, he extended his hand. She hesitated, just for a heartbeat, before taking it. Their brief handshake was enough to ignite a frenzy on social media. Screenshots of that moment spread instantly. A truce? Fans speculated. A sign they've made peace? Others simply called it poetic, the perfect conclusion to a story that had fascinated millions. When it was their turn to speak, Hae took the microphone first. Working on this project was challenging, he admitted, not because of the script or the schedule, but because it demanded more of me, of us, than we expected. But it was worth it. So Minutes added, her voice steady. Sometimes, creating something meaningful means clashing, disagreeing, and finding your way back. I'm grateful we were able to do that and to share this with all of you. The audience erupted into applause, not just for their performance, but for their grace in facing the storm and walking through it. Later that night, backstage photos surfaced of the two standing together, talking quietly. In one, he even appeared to share a smile. Maybe the story wasn't as simple as enemy or lover, black and white as headlines made it seem. Maybe it was just two people, passionate, imperfect, human, navigating a high-pressure world under an unrelenting spotlight. And maybe that's what made it unforgettable. In the end, their clash wasn't just a moment of conflict, it became a reminder that even behind the glamour and gloss of fame, real emotions exist, raw, messy, and deeply human. And for those watching, a story worth remembering.